Alright, this is John Kohler with OKRaw.com. Today we have another exciting episode for you, and I'm coming at you from my backyard garden. And in this episode, I'm going to share with you guys my top 12 food rules you must follow to be healthy. And this is based on, my 22 years of basically researching and experimenting and eating what I consider to be a healthy diet. If I ask my brother, do you eat healthy? He'll say yes. If I ask my parents if they eat healthy, they'll say yes. Most people like to believe they eat healthy, but in my opinion, based on the rules that I'll be sharing with you guys today, they don't eat healthy. Now, I want to say that these rules are my base rules. There may be other rules that I'm forgetting, but these are 12 of the most important. And this channel, over the years I've been YouTubing, has over 100,000 followers now, so I want to thank you guys, or subscribers. And actually my gardening channel, which is even more popular, and I want to encourage you guys to check out growingyourgreens.com, has over 420,000 subscribers now, and that channel has been viewed over 60 million times. So I definitely think I know at least a little bit about what I'm talking about. Anyways, without further ado, let's get into the list, all right? So number one rule I want you guys to follow is I want you guys to eat whole foods. These are foods that don't need an ingredient label, right? I could clearly see these are peppers. These happen to be gypsy peppers on my plants in different varying stages of ripeness. And, today with money grubbing companies, they're just trying to take the food, process it down, and give you salt, sugar, and fat, and oil, and all these things when they process the food. Literally, they're processing the nutrients out, and they're processing away some of the most important nutrients in the foods that you guys are now missing. So if you guys are eating fast food, junk food, we know these foods aren't good for you. Let's not fool ourselves. They don't have the nutrition your body needs to thrive on, right? So I want you guys to eat whole foods, foods without an ingredient label, right? If you grow a garden, anything you grow at your house, guess what? That's a whole food. You're not going to be making this isolated products. You can't grow these isolated things in your garden. And likewise, if you do still shop at a grocery store, like I still do, or a health food store, you want to shop the perimeter. Generally, the perimeter has the more whole food items that are, like the bulk section, like the produce section. These are whole foods, foods without an ingredient label. My second rule is you want to eat water-rich food. This is very important, right? We are 70% of our body weight is water or more. We are on the water planet, right? And I think it's quite unfortunate when too many people eat these dried foods, processed foods that have all the moisture removed. What does that do to you guys? That causes dehydration. That encourages you to drink more extra water to replace the water that you're missing from the foods you're eating. So I say, why do any of that? I like to get the water I need from the foods that I eat. So check it out. Inside my fridge here, I have plenty of water-rich foods, right? I mean, here's a watermelon, organic watermelon. Watermelons are basically 98% water, right? Oh, that sounds like a good one. And we could get our water we need from the foods, but also along with the water, you're getting a whole host of other nutrients. In this watermelon, there's lycopene, vitamins and minerals, and other phytonutrients that are really good for us. Now, aside from the watermelon, even things like lettuce. I got some organic lettuce here, water rich. Got some organic grapes here, water rich, right? Even coconuts. Check it out. Can you hear it? When I shake it, you hear the water splashing around. This is the ultimate supreme water-rich food, and I like to drink coconut water like each and every day that I'm alive. Actually, the ones down here I brought back on an airplane over 3,000 miles from Puerto Rico so that I could continue to enjoy them even after my trip. So besides my water-rich fruits and vegetables, I also on occasion like to include some dehydrated fruits and vegetables. So in this case, we have some dried peppers that I dried myself. Now, if you guys are going to eat fruit and vegetables that have been dried, I do encourage you guys to rehydrate them with water or add water before you eat them so you get some of the original water content that would have been in there that you took out so that you can preserve the food. I mean, these peppers are from my garden from a year or two ago, and they still are really rich in nutrients, but I remove the water so they'll preserve and they won't spoil. I mean, that's another criteria. I want you guys to eat foods that'll spoil, because if foods won't spoil, they probably got some nasty chemicals, but more on that in a minute. Anyways, the main reason for not eating dehydrated foods and eat water-rich foods is because many illnesses can be simply caused by the lack of hydration in your body, right? And if you find you hydrate more, eat more fresh fruits and vegetables that have higher water content, get rid of some of the salt, potato chips, and all these processed foods, your hydration levels are going to go up and you may feel better. I mean, there's a book, The Body's Many Cries for Water, that talks about this in detail. I'll put a link down below if you're interested. Rule number 3, I want you guys to eat nutrient-dense foods. What do I mean by nutrient-dense? I hear this word all the time, and it could have to do with many things. You know, how many nutrients are in the food, how much nutrients are in the soil, so you're growing good food. But basically, when I say nutrient-dense, I mean the definition that Dr. Joel Fuhrman coined, right? Dr. Joel Fuhrman coined the definition of nutrient-dense, and this is his equation for nutrient density. H equals C over N. What does that mean? That means your health equals the calories over the nutrients, right? So what we want to do, unlike most Americans that eat high calorie food and low nutrient food, we want to eat high nutrient food such as my dinosaur kale that I'm growing here in my garden, or my tree collards. These foods are very high in nutrients but very low in calories, all right? And for those of you guys that are interested, I'll put a link down below to Dr. Joel Fuhrman's website. I want you guys to download, print out this list, and affix it to your refrigerator so you guys could, choose some of the foods in the, first 2 and then maybe even 3 categories here that are more nutrient dense. So Dr. Fuhrman rates the foods on a scale of 0 to 1,000, and on 1,000, kale is one of the most nutrient dense foods on the planet. As well as collard greens, which I got right here. Kale, collard greens, I'm growing my own. Mustard greens, I grow seasonally. Watercress, I will be growing hopefully soon. Swiss chard, I got growing actually down over here. Bok choy, I grow in the winter. Spinach, I grow in the winter. Arugula, actually I'm growing now. Romaine, well, I got in the fridge, it's about too hot to plant right now. Brussels sprouts, carrots, cabbage, broccoli. Anyways, these are some of the most nutrient dense foods on the planet, and I want you guys to focus your diet around these foods. Going in even a little bit further, right, when we talk about nutrient density, what we're really talking about are the micronutrients, right? These are not like, fat, carbohydrates, and protein, which are the macronutrients, which you hear a lot about, right? The focus has been entirely lost on the micronutrients. I don't really worry about fat, carbohydrates, and protein all too much, right? On a good balanced diet, you're going to get varied amounts of those. I am more concerned about the micronutrients, right? These are the vitamins and the minerals that are very familiar, that you guys are familiar with. Also antioxidants you may be familiar with, but more importantly, the phytonutrients that are in the foods. That's the pigments that makes the foods color, in some instances. That's the nutrients that are created when I rip this leaf, and there's basically enzymatic reactions happening in the leaf to prevent bugs from eating the leaf. And when this happens, especially in the cruciferous family, it creates powerful anti-aging and anti-cancerous compounds. If you're not eating these nutrient-dense foods, you're eating low-calorie or high-calorie foods with low nutrients, you're not going to get some of these unique vitamin. So if you're eating high-calorie food, so if you're not eating some of these nutrient-dense foods, especially the leafy greens, which are the most nutrient-dense foods on the planet, you're not going to get some of these anti-aging, anti-disease properties. Rule number 4 is I want you guys to eat a diversity of foods, right? Don't just stick to beans and rice for dinner, bananas for lunch, and a green salad at night, right? Switch it up each and every day. One of my goals every day is to eat something different that I didn't eat yesterday. So for example, today I had pluots for lunch, or breakfast actually. And later I'm going to make a juice like totally different than what I made yesterday. So I want to show you guys inside one of my fridges here. So inside my fridge here, I have lots of different produce items that I could select from. I got like cacao that I could eat the cacao fruit out of. I got, right here, this super huge cucumber that's going to end up juiced. I don't know if you guys can see that, I got a jackfruit in the back here. Here's some organic grapes here. Here's some rambutan fruit. Let me show you guys these if you guys never had them. They're definitely really good. I mean, right up here I got a honeydew melon I could be eating. Up here I got these cactus fruits. I got green and the red types. And then right in this drawer here I got beets for juicing, peppers for eating or juicing, and then furthermore in this bottom drawer I got different kinds of apples. So I got Fuji apples and I got some Golden Delicious apples. So as you guys can see, just in this part of my fridge I have plenty of different varieties. So I could eat, apples today, rambutan's tomorrow, jackfruit the next day, the honeydew melon the next day, and juice up some cucumbers, eat some grapes. I'm getting lots of variety. And here's the thing, when you eat different foods, every different food has a whole spectrum of different phytonutrients and phytochemicals, vitamins and minerals, proteins and fats and carbohydrates. And our body really requires a balance to get all the nutrients we need so you're not deficient in any one particular nutrient. One of my favorite sayings by Dr. Joel Fuhrman is, the nutrient you need the most is the one you're not getting. So I sincerely want you guys to eat as much a variety of whole plant foods as you guys possibly could get or grow in your area. Rule number 5 is eat colorful foods, right? There's so many different cool colorful foods, and I don't mean foods with food coloring. I mean nature's colored food. So I mean, over here, for example, I got some organic blueberries. They're a nice deep rich blue color, blue purple. These are very powerful nutrients known as anthocyanins, and every different color has a different spectrum of nutrients. So for example, these orange carrots here have beta carotene, but I want you guys to even go more than just colorful. Try to get a variety of colors, and especially the deep, rich, pigmented colors. So over in here, I got some carrots that are of all colors. So we got the purple carrots, white carrots, or yellow carrots, and orange carrots. Definitely really good. And even more so, we got these colorful kohlrabis that I grew in my garden that are nice, rich purple color. I've really been into a lot of purple, pigmented, and darkly pigmented foods, especially in my fruits and vegetables. But if you guys don't eat fruits and vegetables, or hopefully you guys do, even when choosing other whole natural foods, I want you guys to choose the foods of color. For example, I got some black sesame tahini up here. So instead of tahini made with the white, they're using the black seeds here. This is by Living Tree Organics. And in addition, things like rice, right? We got some wild rice here, organic wild rice. You guys could get this in a black color. It's more nutritious in the sense of anthocyanins by getting the black wild rice. And same thing with beans, right? Here's some urad dal beans. These beans are higher in omega-3s than other beans, and they happen to be like a blackish color. Also get black beans, or the kidney beans, also really high in nutrition. Rule number 6 is eat foods that contain fiber. Fiber, while it's not necessarily an essential nutrient, it's very important for us to eat enough fiber. Not only for us, but more importantly for our microbiome, or our beneficial microbes that live within us. And it's said that we are actually more microbe than human. And so we need to keep these guys happy. And if you eat a diet, say, low in fiber, like animal products contain 0 fiber, if you eat a high animal product diet, you're going to actually get some bad bacteria that may cause weight gain and do other nasty things. Meanwhile, if you eat a plant-centric diet, the plants with all the fiber feed your beneficial bacteria that may make you even feel better, may help you lose weight, and do so many more things that are yet to be unresearched. Now, I do want to let you guys know that there are 2 generally classified types of fiber that's normally talked about. It's a soluble fiber, that's the kind that dissolves in water, and the insoluble fiber, the kind that does not dissolve in water. So for example, I have a jicama here. The jicama has soluble, insoluble fiber, and other types of fiber in there as well. And even if I juice the jicama, I'm still going to get the soluble fiber. And it's the soluble fiber that helps feed the beneficial flora and keeps us regular. So the jicama, Jerusalem artichokes, tubers like yocone, and even to a lesser extent garlic and onions contain inulin, which is another prebiotic fiber that the bacteria in our guts really love. So I want you guys to get some of these in you as well. And every different kind of plant food, whether it's this tropical carob here I got, has different kinds of fiber that may feed different microbes, and also at the same time keep you regular so you're not constipated, right? It's very important. My ideal is one meal in, one meal out, and if that's not happening for you, you're constipated in my opinion, and it's not good to be stuck up. Last thing, while we're talking about fiber, while animal products don't contain any fiber, those of you guys that eat plants, right? There's plant foods that contain no fiber too, but generally those are highly processed plant foods. And if you listen to my first rule, is eat whole foods, right? So what I have here is some organic coconut oil, right? And look at this stuff in here, right? But John, coconut oil is healthy. Well, this is 100% fat, no fiber in here, and very little other nutrients besides 100% fat. I do not agree with eating oils in any large quantities whatsoever. Matter of fact, I eat very little oils. If I go to a restaurant, I eat oils. At home, I never eat oils except for a nutritional supplement for essential fats, the DHA and EPA. Instead of the coconut oil, I want you guys to eat the whole foods, right? The coconut here not only has the fat in there in the delicious coconut meat, it also has the fiber, also has phytonutrients, phytochemicals, anti-aging properties, plant cytokines, vitamins, minerals, and of course, electrolytes. Rule number 7 is I want you guys to eat minimally processed foods as much as you should buy whole foods, right? You will process your foods. If you buy beans at the store, they're a whole food, but once you take them, soak them, rinse them out, and then you cook them, you're now minimally processing the foods, in my opinion. I mean, unless you're grabbing an apple from the tree and then eating it, that's totally unprocessed, but I don't expect anybody in this day and age to live like a hippie out in the wilderness and waiting for an apple to drop into their hand as ripe as possible while they ohm underneath the tree. We will be processing our foods. Let's not deny that. So what I would like to say is let's minimally process our food. So you want to process the food in a way that minimally damages the nutrients inside. So that's one of the reasons why I don't like to heat any of the foods that I eat, right? Heating can cause some damage and lower the nutrition overall of most nutrients in foods, although it may increase absorption of other nutrients, and furthermore, cooking can make nutrients available that would not otherwise be available to you guys. And so there are different methods of cooking that can do more damage, such as frying or microwave, or less damage, such as steaming, boiling, or pressure cooking, or like sous vide, or like one of those crock pots that just heat slowly over a long period of time. So if you are going to heat your food, I would encourage you guys to do a least damaging method of processing your food. I personally like to use a dehydrator here, and I just actually recently dehydrated some pizza crust made out of 100% cauliflower with nuts and seeds, all plant-based. And I know some of you guys might be saying, John, when you're using a juicer, you're processing your food. Absolutely, I totally agree. In my opinion, juicing is essential to a healthy diet because it allows me to actually eat more quantity of the food than I normally could. So for example, I could put 5 pounds of carrots in there and literally get 8 cups or 5 cups of juice that I could then drink with the soluble fiber, but without the insoluble fiber. And especially if you're not used to eating, fiber-rich foods, people can have challenges with digesting or taking in some of that insoluble fiber. And I think that's why juicing is a really good way to start introducing more healthy foods to the standard American. And even on my healthy diet, I like to juice once a day and then eat like a fruit meal, eat a vegetable meal, maybe have a vegetable smoothie as well. So the last thing I want to say about the processed foods is if you are going to buy some processed foods, make sure they're minimally processed. That's when you're going to want to get into reading ingredient labels and make sure there's not all these crazy ingredients, and make sure that you could trust the company that's making the processed food that you're buying, because companies are profit motivated. They may be cutting corners, they may be adding ingredients into the food, they may be doing things to the food that you're not aware of just so that you could buy it in a package. And I'm very distrustful of a lot of companies. One of the processed foods that my girlfriend likes to buy is this stuff right here. It's the kombucha. Now, is kombucha healthy? That's a topic for another video. Actually, I'll put a link down below if I remember on how kombucha is made. I would encourage everybody, if you want to drink kombucha, make your own. It's definitely better than buying it in a bottle because you don't know what's happened to this. Is it raw? How much sugar is in there? But if you make it yourself, you can control all aspects of your fermentation and ensure you get a low sugar result. And of course, it's going to be higher in nutrients because that's been packaged, force carbonated, and a lot of other things haven't been done to it. My 8th rule is I eat foods, and I want you guys to eat foods that promote longevity. I mean, who doesn't want to live longer? Promote health. Who doesn't want to be healthy? And number 3, fight disease. So I eat sometimes specific foods that will do all these things for me. And that mainly comes in this cabinet right here, right behind me, and have some very special ingredients that in my opinion are healthy to eat and will provide me health benefits that fruits and vegetables and other plant foods may not. So first thing up is something like the mushrooms, right? Mushrooms have some amazing abilities for angiogenesis inhibition, right? So they're going to prevent the growth of cancers and whatnot. In addition, you know, they've researched things like the apple cider vinegar, right, to be helpful with weight loss. In this little Miron glass jar, I have some seaweed powders with magical abilities or magical minerals and other plant phytonutrients. This shelf here has all different kinds of seaweed powders and seaweeds. This is like wakame. And the seaweeds are up on this shelf are generally hydrated before consuming. And I want you guys to focus your diet around foods that will fight disease and promote longevity, such as some of the foods that I've shown you. And there are many more. I mean, specific, you know, purple carrots, for example, another one of these very important foods. They may meet other criteria, but sometimes some of these foods may not fall into any other category, so I want to make sure I had a rule for them as well. So I'm out here in my garden to show you guys rule number 9, super critical, super important. I want you guys to eat chemically free as possible. I mean, we live in a modern age where there's all kinds of toxins around us, and I want you guys just in general to minimize the toxin exposure you have, whether that's from personal care products, you know, air fresheners, or, you know, fragrances in your washing detergent, right? All these man-made chemicals can cause massive problems within us. We are just not designed to be handling all these chemicals, MTBE that's in gasoline these days. So I want you guys to minimize that in the food you guys eat. I mean, if you guys are still buying conventional produce, well, that's still, you know, way better than eating anything else from the grocery store because they're, you know, nutrient dense, water rich, some of the other things we talked about earlier. I want you guys to go the next level if you're able to afford it, to take things chemical free. Super important, super critical. Things like fungicides have been linked with weight gain, and if you're buying leafy greens at the store, they've probably been sprayed with fungicides, right? Because the farmers aren't in it to grow high quality food, unfortunately. They're in it to make a buck, and if the fungus messes up and eats their produce, they're gonna lose their money. So they're gonna spray whatever they need to spray on there, you know, to keep it healthy so that they could make a buck. Same thing, you know, if there are pesticides that kill bugs, kill pests on the plants, on the foods, right? Most pesticides are neurotoxins for the insects, and likewise may pose neurotoxic problems within us. And especially if you're eating the same thing day in, day out, you're getting a buildup of those neurotoxins. In addition, things like the herbicides, right? That kill weeds, because farmers want their fields nice and neat and clean and they don't want any weeds, which is a whole nother problem. That's a whole nother topic. But the herbicides may negatively affect your beneficial biome, your microbiome in your intestines, and do many other things. You know, there are all these consequences, in my opinion, of these man-made chemicals that are being sprayed on the food that you don't want to get. And, you know, even if you're buying organic, they have organic pesticides, organic herbicides that can be used, and your food can still be considered organic. So just if you guys are buying organic food, don't think, John, my food doesn't have any chemicals because I'm buying organic, I'm safe. Well, let me tell you guys this, right? Under organic growing standards, they could spray organic pesticides, organic herbicides, organic fungicides. Now, while these may not be as bad as the chemical ones, and at least they're more natural or derived from a natural substance, you know, I believe these should be minimized as well, because some of them may be worse than the man-made chemical pesticides, although my personal gut feeling is that, you know, I'd rather take my chances with some natural ones any day of the week in most situations. So aside from just some of the chemicals that they're spraying on plant foods, which then animals eat and animals will bioaccumulate, they're also injecting animals with things like antibiotics and hormones, which I would consider also chemicals that can have negative repercussions when you eat those foods that have those things added to them, right? Animals are biologic concentrators and going to concentrate all those properties in their flesh, in their meat, in their products, eggs and milk and dairy, they produce. So I would encourage you guys to, reduce or eliminate all those as well. Now, even more so than just growing food, and that's why I'm growing some of the food here. What I'm growing here is actually a very special plant that originated probably in China. And this is the tea plant, having some challenges because it normally likes a nice humid environment, and I live in a nice arid environment, so I'm kind of doing some things to make it work. At this point, I think I may be a tad bit over-watering them, and I got them under a nice shade cloth here. Because even if you're buying something like tea and it's not organic, it's probably being sprayed with potentially nasty chemicals. So, another reason yet to grow your own. So I know exactly what these guys were sprayed with because I didn't spray nothing on them at this point. So yet another reason to grow your own, to be free of this system. But even if you grow your own food, you're still buying food at the store, right? I want you guys to be aware of packaging. So sometimes when they package foods, it's in a can or sometimes even in a jar with a lid, and it has a BPA coating on it, right? That's another man-made chemical that has been shown not to be so healthy for us. In addition, there's things like Teflon coating, PTFE, that may be on, hopefully you don't own those anymore, the non-stick pans. Those are, in my opinion, bad news. There's also man-made chemicals being added to food, aspartame, saccharin, all these things, man-made chemicals trying to subvert nature. And in my opinion, while they may be subverting nature in some ways, there are potential consequences in others. So I want you guys to minimize all those kind of toxins that come in contact with your food as well. And that's just yet another reason not to buy canned or packaged foods. So another rule I have for you guys is very important to me, that has been my area of study now for at least the last 10 years plus, is I want you guys to purchase food that are grown in the highest quality soil, with minerals and microbes and without tillage. Right? This is important, and I cannot stress this matter enough. In my opinion, most soils growing food, whether conventional or organic, in many instances is not as good or nutritious as it needs to be for the plants. And the result is plants that are not as nutritious as they could. I mean, I've done a lot of bricks testing, and actually in some of my bricks testing, which tests more than just the sugar, it tests the overall nutrition of the food. That bricks testing has got me kicked out of places that don't want to hear about the poor quality food that they're serving, or how they can potentially improve it if they want to, and how you guys can improve the food you're buying by simply purchasing a bricks meter. I'll put a link down below to a video where I go more into this. But my soil here, I'm adding different things like trace minerals, like microbes and compost teas and organic matter to have some of the highest quality soil, balanced soil, so I could grow some of the highest quality crops. So I want you guys really to seek out and source, high quality food grown in good soil. The only way to do that I know of is grow it yourself. Other than that, maybe go to local farmers markets and ask the farmers how they're growing, and hopefully they'll be growing, with some good practices to grow higher quality food. Other than that, if the best you guys could do is buy organic, in general, organic is better than conventional in this sense, because at least organic farmers are putting on compost, whereas conventional farmers use, synthetic chemical fertilizers to enrich and create nutrients in their crops. So rule number 11, I want you guys to eat as many fresh picked foods as possible, right? So I'm here at my water spinach crop that does amazingly well, even in 100+ degree weather like we've had for the last several weeks. And I could just literally pluck a leaf off this plant. And as I just plucked it, it's still alive. But as it sits here, as it travels across the country, put in refrigeration, the nutrition levels go down and down and down and down and down, right? And just within 24 hours of picking, say, some kind of cruciferous vegetable, broccoli, for example, there can be significant nutritional losses. Not to say that broccoli you buy at the grocery store is no good. It's still better, far better than most anything else you could buy at the grocery store. But why not do even better by growing your own broccoli? Or if you can't grow your own broccoli, hey, you could grow your own broccoli sprouts that you harvest fresh, right? Because they're still growing as you're eating them. That being said, visit your local farmers markets and ask your local farmer, hey, when did you harvest this produce? And I like to support the farmers that said, I woke up at 4 a.m. this morning, I picked this produce, and now it's here for you. I'd rather support them than ones that say, oh yeah, I harvested it 2 days ago, it's been in the fridge ever since, right? So harvest your produce fresh, much more nutrition, and some of the valuable phytonutrients that may be lost, maybe the exact same ones you need to fight disease and promote longevity. Now, even if you're not buying fresh produce, right, and you're buying beans and grains, legumes, nuts and seeds, right, I want you guys to get the freshest possible product. So go to stores that sell a lot of product that has a lot of fast turnover. So they have some of the freshest stuff, because we've all been to that store that, you know, they're just not selling a lot of this whatever chia seed, and it's been sitting there for a couple years before you buy it, right? Go to the store that keeps selling it, that turns it over fast, because they're going to have fresher inventory, fresher chia seeds, and in my opinion, across the board, fresher is always bester. So my 12th and final rule is I want you guys to eat foods that are alive, right? And as alive as possible and are living, right? The living foods, fermented foods, contain live bacteria and are rich in enzymes. These are very important nutrients for us that are often forgotten in many diets, unfortunately. I mean, here at home, I'm growing my own buckwheat sprouts in just a little mason jar. You guys could grow buckwheat sprouts, alfalfa sprouts, clover sprouts, many other kinds of sprouts, legume sprouts yourself, and you could have living foods that you could consume that also, once again, is harvested fresh. Super important, right? The living foods that haven't been pasteurized, haven't been high pressure processed, that haven't been microwave, haven't been irradiated, right? These foods contain beneficial bacteria that when we eat them, and yeast and other probiotics, can help us out. So I know there's like a beneficial yeast on lychees, for example, that are on the skin, and if you're just eating lychees that have not been irradiated, these yeasts are there, and you're going to get some on your hands, you're going to end up eating some, right? And you could do that, or you could buy, you know, a supplement of this exact yeast at your health food store, right? What's more natural, right? That's why I try to eat live and unpasteurized, unprocessed, heat processed, irradiated processed foods to get some of these beneficial probiotics into me. In addition, I also ferment my food. So here's some fermented cabbage that I made, you know, for this beneficial probiotics. And here's some organic natto, which is basically just fermented soybeans for my vitamin K2, as well as for the enzymes that could actually, in the natto, that can actually help clean out your blood vessels, and, you know, has the vitamin K2 that can make your bones stronger. So, I mean, that's pretty much my 12 rules so you guys could eat healthy. I hope you guys really enjoyed them. You know, I've been coming up with all these rules over the many years, and finally I put it into a video for you guys. If you guys are really into this and wanting to eat healthy, be sure to check my other videos on this YouTube channel. I have over like 500 videos on this channel dedicated to teach you guys how to eat a healthy diet rich in fruits and vegetables, which in my opinion are the best foods on the planet. Also, be sure to click that subscribe button right down below so you don't miss out on any of my new and upcoming episodes that are coming out every 5 to 7 days. You never know where I'll show up or what you'll be learning on my YouTube channel. And finally, be sure to like this video. That'll encourage me to do more videos like this, my top 10, 12, whatever countdowns, so that you guys could eat healthier. So with that, my name is John Kohler with OKRaw.com. We'll see you next time, and until then, remember, keep eating your fresh fruits and vegetables. They're always the best.